Caroline Bryant was born in 1934 in Indianola, Mississippi, and she was the daughter of a plantation worker and a nurse. She became a high school dropout, and in order to just get by in life, she ended up using her good looks to win beauty pageants and to earn herself some money. When she was 21 years old, she ended up marrying a man called Roy Bryant, and they built and owned a store called Bryant's Meat Market and Grocery Store in Money, Mississippi, along with having 2 children. On August 24th, 1955, 14-year-old black kid Emmett Till and his cousin skipped church to go to the Bryant's grocery store to buy some candy. Now, if you know the Emmett Till story, you know about what happened and what went down in the grocery store. And what exactly happened in the grocery store has been talked about for decades, and the story keeps changing a lot. But the most popular theory and most rumor of what happened is that Emmett Till whistled at Caroline Bryant, and he allegedly flirted with her and called her baby before leaving the store. This is in the South in the 1950s, and if you know anything about American history, racism in the South go neck and neck. They're like 2 perfect couples. But Emmett Till was from the North in Chicago, and he wasn't aware of the cutthroat nature of racism in the South, where you could do anything wrong. The littlest thing you could do wrong as a black person is immediate death. Either way, whether he flirted or not, which I personally don't believe he did, Caroline Bryant was very upset. So she went to her husband Roy and told him that in the store a black boy sexually harassed her. Just a quick trigger warning for what I'm about to describe next. Days later, on August 28th, 1955, Roy Bryant and his cousin J.W. Milham drove to Emmett Till's great uncle's home and kidnapped him and took him on a ride. They ended up beating young Emmett Till to death. They stripped him, lynched him, and also shot him in the head and thrown his body out of the Tallahatchie River in Mississippi. 2 days later, or 3 days later after the murder, Emmett Till's body was found by 2 boys who was fishing near the river. It's really hard to put into words what the amount of malice, anger, violence, and just overall negative feelings it would take for you to genuinely do this to a young kid. And the thing about Emmett Till is that he wasn't unique in that, especially for a black boy at that time, because who knows, there were probably hundreds of thousands of black boys that were wrongfully accused of something and then killed, or just killed just for the fact that they were black. And for Emmett Till, it all came from the mouth of one woman. Racist white people have many scare tactics in order to horrify and frighten black people and to derive fear from them for years upon years and years. But that was all about to change. Mammy Till was Emmett Till's mom. Mammy sent Till from Chicago to Mississippi in order to visit his cousins and to spend the summer there. But it was unfortunately the last time she would ever see him as he was ever again. But back in Money, Mississippi, where the killing happened, everyone in the town heard about it, and it ended up getting published in local magazines across town and spread like wildfire. And while lynchings in that state weren't something new per se, it was at that time pretty shocking to see the story of a young man missing for 3 days and was eventually found brutally murdered at a river. Local magazines exposed Mississippi's horrible white supremacy through the acts of murder. A burial was being prepared in Mississippi, but Mammy insisted that her son be buried in Chicago where he was born. Emmett Till's body was then sent to Chicago for his funeral and was waiting for the arrival of his mom. What Mammy Till did next was truly one of the most bravest and most remarkable things I have ever seen. She decided to have an open casket funeral for her son, and her reasoning was because, and I quote, "There was just no way I could describe what was in that box. No way, and I just wanted the world to see. I wanted the world to see what they did to my baby." Reporters and photographers came into the funeral to take photographs of Emmett Till's body, and if you are easily grossed out by just any photo of a tortured body, then I suggest you skipping to this part in the video. These images are some of the most disturbing, most tragic photos I have ever seen. You can just witness the damage and the pure horror that is across his face. The lips, the eyes, the hair, the skin. The images of Mammy Till looking down her son's deathbed, crying and in total pain, has gone down as some of the most influential images of all time. Tens of thousands of people visited Emmett Till's mutilated corpse. Some cringed, a lot fainted, and just by looking at this video, you can see the reactions of the visitors, seeing Emmett Till's body for the first time. And it's honestly pure horror. Seeing his body like this was just another layer of the horrific murders and tragedy black people endured for centuries. The photos were then put on national newspapers and black newspapers like Jet Magazine, and it caused a huge public reaction. By this time, everyone in the entire country knew about Emmett Till and saw the infamous photos of his body. It caused so much outcry and emotional pain that Roy Bryant and J.W. Milan were then sent to court for the murders. The murder trial was very prototypical of the South, having an all-white jury and white people all in the front, while all the black people witnessing were all in the back. The trial only lasted for 5 days, and if you're black watching this video, you know that they were acquitted and that they were free from murder. Even months later, J.W. Milam and Roy Bryant had an interview. He even talked about killing Emmett Till in very descriptive detail, talking about how he should have known his place, don't mess around with our white women down here, blah 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 blah, all of this racist shit. And with that, black people saw that and basically said, enough is enough. After this verdict and its outcome, I think this is, to me, in my opinion, what really sparked the civil rights movement and all the actionable items that came after that. Because technically the civil rights movement existed in the 1940s after the aftermath of World War II and black people not being satisfied with where they are in the country. But after this verdict and what happened to Emmett Till, we had leaders like Rosa Parks, for example, who gave up her seat, or who she didn't give up her seat to the white person. And while she was arrested, she thought about Emmett Till and how she couldn't just back down. All the infamous historical black figures came after that. It's very much known how important your actions are. As they say, your actions will always have consequences, and that is what really inspired me to make this video. I sat around throughout this entire week and really thought about how pivotal these two women's actions and choices really brought about the sparking and igniting the many other social movements in a weird domino effect, if that makes sense. I'm not saying that the civil rights movement wouldn't have existed at all because it was already starting to take shape. I just think that after this specific incident and this incident alone and the reactions and the verdict and just everything that happened, heavy of discussions and long impacting actions started to take place. Without the civil rights movement's actions and their willingness to fight against injustice and oppression, later movements like the women's rights and gay liberation, black power, fight against the opposition of Vietnam War, it all probably wouldn't have happened at a later pace rather than our original timeline. I also want to butt in and say that in this video, I am not trying to portray Caroline Bryant as this being sent from God to change the racial climate at that time. That is not what I'm saying. She's very much the villain, and I'm only bringing her up to really bring into light how much a false accusation can really change not just a person's lives, but like literally pretty much everybody's lives. Because it even happens now. Like there's even, white women that falsely accuse black football players in college, and then that entire kid's future is utterly ruined based off a false accusation. So that's the type of message I'm really trying to bring, how your choices and your actions can really change things. And if you think it's something this small, it ends up becoming something bigger than you have ever expected. FYI, if you're black and you live in Mississippi and you're watching this video, she's still alive today. Alright, she may be old, but she's still alive today. So if you're feeling a little feisty and a little bit enraged after seeing this video, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying do something to her, but I'm also not saying not do something to her. You feel me? You get what I'm saying? This concludes this week's video. Thank you all so much for watching this entire video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and be here for next week's video. I've been a little bit slacking in terms of days. I be saying Friday, but then I be uploading Tuesday, and then this video is probably gonna be uploaded on a Saturday. So just know that I'm making videos every single week. So if you see an upload by me, hit those notification bell because I am most likely uploading probably 1 to 2 or 3 videos in a week. So yeah, this is Mark Arroyo. Farewell.
Stepping out of your lane once again, so I might have to smack that ass. It's tombstone for you, little homie. We all gonna lay roses on your coffin, cause your career is R.I.P. You're done. You're over.